The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember all those we lost in the line of duty.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tactical Financial Studios. This is the Sports Beat podcast with Fredericks and Freed. Special guest. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Special guest today, Pat Donahue, back again. How are you, Pat?
Good morning. Doing well.
So sexy.
Over to what would be my right and your left is Blue. Welcome again.
How's it going,
and
guys?
behind the glass, as always, is Mo.
Hi, Mo. Why do you have to say it like that, dude? Like.
The reason we're late is Mo was late.
So before we get into the happiness of the season and the happiness of talking sports and all the fun that comes with it, I have some somber news that I'd like to share with the group. An original member, 2014 member of BBO, Bronx Homicide Task Force, as it was once known, detective, and really good friend of mine and everyone else's, Annabelle Nieves, passed away after a long illness. She was a good soul, a terrific person. She had that infectious laugh. People just loved to be around her. She was a special friend of mine, someone I counted on, and someone that I could bounce things off of. Annabelle was never somebody who would hold back. She would let you know when you crossed the line, but she'd also give you a big hug and a kiss and tell you how much she loved you and how much she missed you all the time. My heart is less knowing she's gone. The world is quieter knowing she's gone. She was a wonderful cop, good human being, and I'm sorry to see her go. Before we do, I just want to make sure everyone can know when the visitation is. It's going to be held at Ferenga Brothers Funeral Home on December 7th. That's a Sunday between 2 and 8 p.m. That's located at 920 Allerton Avenue in the Bronx. Boogie down. Any of you that can attend and any of you that knew Annabelle or had experiences with her, I think the send-off for her would be cathartic, healing, and I think we could all share stories and fun times and laughs. I think that's how she'd want us all to remember her, and I miss her, and I hope you all do too.
Yeah. Well said, kid.
Okay, moving on.
Well, can I do one thing?
Please do.
And then, unfortunately, I'm someone out there. Some people know I have CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and I'm part of a group. And recently, last week, back on November 29th, there was a chief of Seaford Police Department down in Delaware, Chief Gary Flood. He passed away, not from CLL, but other illness. But I just wanted to pass that along. He did 43 years of service. He was also in the Air Force. And I wanted to pass our condolences to his wife, Debbie. So that's basically it.
Well said. Well said. So how is everybody doing on this fine Saturday? Traffic-free Phillipsburg today. Very exciting time to be alive.
Anytime you turn on the main street and there's no traffic, it's a good thing.
There'll be a lot of traffic later, though.
I'll be long gone by then.
Polar Express is in town.
How are your holidays going?
Not bad, not bad.
Anything fun? How was your Thanksgiving?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yourself, Pat?
No complaints. Went up to lovely Goshen, New York. My
Nice.
cousin is the best cook in the family, and it's kind of been a tradition, and enjoyed it. And also watched my Green Bay Packers beat the Detroit Lions, so it was a great day.
So, Mike, I want to give you an example of that's how you answer my Thanksgiving question. Now that was good.
It's great.
It's great. Thanks.
It's good. We had a good time.
So,
Thanks.
A minor story, just to understand the milieu of my Thanksgiving. I'm very simple.
All right,
man.
stop with the heat your words, bro.
I'm a simple guy. I like the turkey, mashed potato stuffing, gravy, and perhaps something green, whatever they want. I don't do desserts, so people bring them. And I like to watch football. I like to get exceedingly drunk and watch football on my couch. That's what I like to do. But there have been several times where people have decided that maybe we should flip the script on this, and I'm not very happy about it. So my wife decides we're going to go to my mother-in-law's house. Full disclosure, they're Filipino. So as I tell her, and I tell her mother, I like this. This is what I like. You're going to have a turkey, right? Because I don't mind the Filipino food. It's delish. But on Thanksgiving, I want what I want. So they're promising me turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and gravy, and the Filipino food. I'm very wary. There's usually like 40 people that go to this house. So this is a while ago. We trucked the 2 little ones and me, and we go over to the house. When I get there, there is something that resembles a bird. It smells like curry.
They definitely went with the duck.
It smells like curry. It is overcooked like a bird would, like a dog wouldn't eat it. It's dead. It's dead meat. Now I'm looking for the mashed potatoes. And if you see me, I'm looking around. Stuffing. Gravy. Oh, you can make the gravy, John. No, go fuck yourself. I'm a guest. I'm not cooking here.
Mother-in-law, bro. Wow. Mother-in-law.
So now, no, the story's not done yet.
Things just got intense. Mother-in-law, bro.
Soon to be ex-mother-in-law.
Story's not done yet.
Exactly.
Story's not done. So now, I'm already angry. The blood pressure has risen. It's going up and up. But I'm going to make the best of it. So I eat this. My sons don't want anything to do with this turkey. They're not really eating. So now they're cranky and hungry. So I muddle through. And uh-oh.
I didn't touch anything.
No, you got to hold your thing now.
Hello?
Yeah, now you got to hold this.
I got a whole thing. So now.
That was the mother-in-law, by the way.
Yeah, that was the mother-in-law.
100% was a curse.
So now here I am, angry, but they do have Heineken beers, so I drink one of those, and I'm sitting down on their couch, and I turn on the football. And it wasn't the Cowboys. Cowboys won the first game, but I like football. So I'm sitting there, and one of the uncles, she's got like 9,000 uncles, and one of them sits down with this face that he makes, and he takes the remote, and he turns the channel onto basketball, and tells me, oh, we like basketball. And I look at him, and I look at my wife, and I go, I was here, and I fucking like football.
Jesus, bro, what the heck?
And I mean, the blood pressure is going up and up and up. And I go now I go like this. I look at my wife, and she's running from me. She wants nothing to do with it. So I call up Boston Market.
Pat's like, I drove all this way for this story.
Yeah, it's great.
This actually reminds me of training in the police department. Where you would have to hold on. You would grab your partner and go, hey, man, time out. You need to step out. I'll handle this.
No question.
You're at that point.
No questions at the end either. So now I call up Boston Market, which thank God was open. I go, how many turkey dinners do you have left? They sold the big platters.
Yeah.
Oh, we got 2 of them. I'll be there in 5 minutes. So now I go get the Boston Market. I come back, and now all these grubbing little ghouls want the turkey that I just fucking bought. And I'm like, I know, you go over there and have the fish head soup. I'm over here with the turkey because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. The guy's got the basketball game on. I go to her. I go, you can stay if you want, but I'm taking my 2 kids home, and I'm going to go watch football like I fucking wanted to the entire time.
For those keeping track at home on the scoreboard, that's 5 F-bombs.
5
Oh my God.
So I go home, and I managed to get home for the halftime of the Detroit Lions game. We discussed why the Lions and Cowboys play before, but the halftime of the Detroit Lions game. I sit down on my couch, satiated with my Boston Market. Both of my kids are asleep because they're in the turkey coma. Perfect. And I started pouring myself whiskey, and I managed to finagle some happiness out of Thanksgiving. So to bring the story to the end is every time somebody asks me to go somewhere else, there's one more. Fuck you. You can come to my house. You can come to my house. Exactly. You can come to my house, and I will cook you a delicious turkey dinner. You can bring whatever food you'd like, right? But I'm eating my turkey, and at 1 o'clock, I sit down and I go into a coma by midnight because I've been watching football all day. And that's my Thanksgiving story.
Oh, my God. Who the hell cares?
And to finish this, other than Mo putting up his stuff, That's how you tell a story, Mike. That's how you tell a story. Okay. Can you do better than it was great?
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Just don't curse, Mike.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right.
Mike
All right.
must have been great in a Geo-15.
Oh,
Just give him nothing.
jeez. Silent but excellent for defending your life. You ever watched the movie?
Yeah.
So, okay. So
You got that. You got that off your chest. Do you
Thank
feel
God.
better, bro?
Oh, I do. Now the world knows. Now the world
That
knows.
you're going to be divorced in a week.
Oh, no, they still kind of like me. It's all right. So I feel since we have, Pat back again for another visit, thank you for coming down as well. But I feel as if we should start with your world of expertise and talk about Young Ho Koo and that disaster of a field goal attempt. It reminded me of every golf swing where I chunked the fucking dirt in golf.
Somebody pour this man some whiskey.
I'm drinking orange juice
He's
and drinking a donut today.
I think I've
Take
heard
a
the
bite of
F word
that
more out
jelly
of him.
donut there. Calm down.
But I think what we should do is start with you, because we were discussing this last night about the eccentricities of actually kicking, and there's some science and some timing and all these things to it, and you can explain why this actually happened.
Or is it like a yip? Really?
I wouldn't use the word yip. Yip is something that's a repeated habitual pattern. It's usually associated with putting. Kicking is all predicated on timing. Starts with the snap, and if the snap doesn't go right, everything's thrown out of whack. When you get to that level of being a professional kicker, it's muscle memory automatic. And if something is slightly off, it will throw off the whole mechanic and mechanism of the kicking procedure. I watched that live. I was absolutely dumbfounded.
We've seen stuff like that before, but nothing like.
Nothing to that level,
No.
no. Watched it a bunch of times, saw it from a couple different angles. Full disclosure, I kicked in high school, I kicked in college, I kicked and punted with the NYPD team. So I do have some experience. The snap wasn't perfect. There was a slight difficulty in getting the hold down. And what I think the kicker tried to do was to stop and restart. But he had been so far into the kicking process that he just basically drove his kicking foot into the ground. Kudos to the holder, by the way. The reaction time for him to realize that the kick attempt wasn't going to get off and to try and salvage that play and maybe get a conversion out of it, of a first down, was something that was I don't think he got enough credit for. But yeah, the timing was off. And so if you're a kicker in the NFL, or if you're a kicker at a high level college, what we call the get off time, from the time the ball is snapped to the time the ball is kicked, the target goal is 1.3 at the highest and 1.1, which is not a lot of time.
No.
So in that time frame of 1.1 seconds to 1.3, the slightest thing goes off, everything goes haywire. The best way I described it, telling you last night, it looks like he short-circuited and they unplugged the robot and it just stopped.
Right.
No kicker wants to do that at all, trust me. But it happened, and I think it's a really big microcosm of where the Giants are today and why they are today.
And he just couldn't stop.
No.
Usually you'll see the kicker just stop, just stop,
Yep.
but he just went full.
What's your feelings on the state of the Giants, though?
When we were, you were here last time, we talked about them. When all of us were, I think, in agreement that they were going to have a pretty decent season. But I guess with Neighbors out and the Scatterboo injury, Dart with his concussions, which hopefully he can get out of that.
My big disappointment with the Giants, believe it or not, isn't the offense. I wasn't expecting much out of it. It was a surprise to watch
defense.
Scatterbo.
Yeah.
They have a very good defense on paper.
Yep.
They really do. And I'm watching this defense play, and it's awful. It's like I don't understand. Yeah, okay, the defense is on the field more than the offense because there's no offense coming. So eventually you're going to give up points. But to this level, like, do you think it's just an offshoot of the offense, or were we overrating the Giants' defense?
I would have to go with and I'm not a Giant fan, full disclosure. I am a football fan. Being in New York, you have to watch the Jets and Giants if your team isn't on TV. I agree with you. I thought the Giants' defense was going to be something that would carry the team and maybe help compensate for the offense that wasn't expected to do what it started to do in the beginning of the year when they had Neighbors and when they had Scadaboo and Dark got in and they started to get rolling. But the defense has been a big letdown. There's a lot of high draft picks there. There's a lot of high name recognition players that aren't performing.
I mean, I thought Abdul Carter was going to they drafted him second, right? Abdul third. And I thought he was just going to be the second coming. And I haven't heard much about him all season. It was just
his career with the Giants didn't get off to a good start.
No.
Asking to wear Lawrence Taylor's number 56, which is
That takes balls.
That does.
That takes balls. But it takes a lot of self-confidence.
Potty mouth.
Yeah, watch your mouth, please.
After that start, listen,
Yeah.
I can get at least 3 or 4 off.
If I jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge too? Well, set an example. Set an example.
But I mean, look at Carter. He's twice been suspended for conduct that's not productive for the team. And you got to give the Giants credit. All right, here he is, third pick in the draft. Sometimes these guys come in with a bit of a longer leash than other players, and the Giants are holding him accountable. All right, one mistake is a mistake. Second mistake is a mistake, but if I'm a Giant fan or if I'm the Giant front office, I'm worried that is this a habit? Is this who he really is? And maybe this is why he fell to 3.
Was he projected number 1?
I believe he was projected 2.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a big fall.
No. I mean he's young. Give him a break for the first season. So
I think I think he'll be better after when you get new coaches and everything like that. I think there will be change. The whole thing about the defense that we're talking about, everything was happening in the fourth quarter. So you fired everyone. But now, after the last game, you're seeing it happen in the beginning. So was it to me then it's not the coaches, it's more the players than the coaches.
speaking of the coaches and the interim coach, I'm not talking about last week's game, I'm talking about the game before against Detroit. Can someone of a bit better football mind than me explain what that 4 downs on the 3-yard line when all you had to do was kick a field goal to go up 6 points on the Detroit Lions and they would have had no timeouts? What are you throwing the ball for? What are you doing with all this? I don't understand these people. You kick and then they go for the touchdown instead of trying to kick the field goal. Would have been up 6 points. They had to kick a 58-yarder to tie the game. Can someone explain that to me?
Sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, even hockey, is now predicated on analytics, just like in baseball. And my only guess is the theory was they didn't want to kick the field goal right away and give as much time on the clock because it's only a 6-point lead.
But the actual going for the touchdown is the end of the nonsense. They threw the ball on 2nd down, and it was an incomplete pass, which stopped the clock, which would have ran 45 more seconds, got you to the 2-minute warning, or Detroit would have had to use their last timeout. What are you thinking?
My only analysis would be somebody said, hey, they expect us to run, so let's throw the ball, and that way we'll catch them off guard. Nobody goes into a situation on goal line offense where they say, we're worried about the time. Let's throw the ball, and we're probably going to make an incomplete pass. They didn't call that play to stop the clock with an incomplete pass. They called that play to catch the defense off guard and score a touchdown, and it didn't happen.
But following analytics, and you put 3 points on the board, they need a touchdown to win. They will have less than 2 minutes and no timeouts to drive the field. You'll put the defense, which we've just maligned a little bit, but you put the defense back a little bit. You put them on their heels. You keep them in bounds. They have to score a touchdown. Like, wouldn't you think the analytics would say put the points on the board?
I think so, but I think Kafka was probably thinking, I guess he was thinking that his defense would fail like that they've been doing.
They played pretty well in that game. I mean, Detroit's a good team.
But a lot of their losses were always off. Well, and the defense did that, with a minute or 2 left. That's right. When they were losing the game.
But as a coach, especially an interim coach who's fighting to maybe possibly become the permanent head coach, you got to have that goldfish mentality. You can't call a play in the game current with the mindset, well, 3 weeks ago we blew a 4th quarter lead. And we also blew another 4th quarter lead. You got to coach in the now. That's my thought.
I I mean, I understand what both of you are saying. I cannot understand that play calling. You run the clock. You do 3 runs. You try and get in the end zone. You don't get in the end zone. You kick the field goal, and now that team has less than 2 minutes and no timeouts to drive the field. That to me, it's inexplicable.
But it's not exclusive to the Giants. Look what Seattle did in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, where
not running with Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
Yeah. On to the Jets, who I actually like. Did you want to talk about the Giants?
No.
The Jets, who I actually like, because I thought they were going to tank the season. I really did, and now they've won 4 games, I believe, and it looks like Aaron Glenn is motivating these guys. Like it's fun to watch, and they don't have the players the Giants do. They don't, and you're dealing with a 3rd-tier quarterback at best. You've got a decent running back, but he can't do anything because there's no one to throw to. I was watching them. I'm like, and you hear them. They're like, you would think they tank for the number 1, but they're not. And I don't know. I think that's a testament to someone being a pro. You don't tank a season, and I think that's a testament to Aaron Glenn. You play to the end. You play to win. But I kind of like where they're at. I mean, I think the Jets are on the uphill, and it's fun to watch them.
Taylor is doing good. He was great last game. They're definitely going to draft a quarterback. And then the word is, I think Kyler Murray, they're looking to probably get from
another concussion problem.
I don't know.
Another 7-year quarterback that hasn't done anything yet.
I agree with you that the Jets are probably on a better projection track than the Giants. I'm a big fan of Tyrod Taylor. Let's not forget, he was about to become a starting quarterback with the San Diego Chargers. And if it wasn't for an improperly administered shot in a pregame, which actually punctured a lung and forced him to be rushed to the hospital, putting Justin Herbert in as a starting quarterback, he might not be with the Jets. I like him. He's a quality person. I know somebody involved with the Jets, and they tell me he is the consummate professional that you want in your meeting room, in your locker room, off the field. He's a great mentor, both what to do on the field and, more importantly, for the younger guys, what to do and how to act off the field.
So following that comment, that's what a good veteran backup quarterback is. Right. He is not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's not going to do it.
Absolutely
He's not going to take the Jets there. So why would I invest time in him? And like you had said, Kyler Murray, why would I invest time in him? He's shorter than me, I think. Well, very few short quarterbacks. Okay, Drew Brees. All right, that's one. Doug Flutie. That's another.
Well,
after that, you're really kind of out there.
Well, that's it. Do you think not Colin Murray, Taylor would want to stay another year to be a backup?
They paid him. They paid him the right amount of money, probably. Yeah, why not?
I think
or is he going to start?
I believe Taylor is a better bridge for the Jets to get where they want to go than by bringing in Kyler Murray. Bringing in Kyler Murray, now you're bringing in a new quarterback. He's got to learn a new system. The players got to adapt to him. It's a big transition. He's going from Arizona to the East Coast. He's living in Jersey. My feeling was if Kyler Murray was the answer for a team at quarterback, he would not be available for the Jets.
That's true. And he was a problem child for the Cardinals for a few years, if you recall. Like he was an off-field problem and he was an injury problem. So I don't know why you'd want to bring that into the biggest market in the United States. I can't see how that's going to work out.
And let's not forget, Kyler Murray was a high draft pick in baseball. And there was serious concern as to whether or not he would go professional baseball or football. Don't be surprised if at some point he says, you know what, I tried it, doesn't work out for me. I'm going to go back and go to my true love or my first love.
You think he would be a quality major leaguer at this point with the injuries he's had? And
it's easy to play baseball with the injuries he has than to play football, especially a quarterback.
Okay.
And then when the draft comes, for the Giants, it's going to happen most likely. I could see the Jets and Giants just swapping. Because if the Giants finish it with 2-3 wins, they're going to be either probably number 2 or 3, because I think they're number 3 right now in the order. Jets are like 6 or 7 right now. But so because the Jets are going to want the QB. Giants don't need the QB, so they'll.
Everybody wants a QB. All right. There's a famous line: if you have 2 QBs, you don't have 1. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. I have been for my whole life. I believe the Packers have what is probably the best format in identifying, drafting, and then developing a quarterback. They did it with Brett Favre. Brett Favre mentored, although not to the extent he should have. Aaron Rodgers sat for 2 or 3 years. Worked on his mechanics, worked on how to be a professional quarterback. Aaron Rodgers takes over, Hall of Famer. So you go from Brett Favre, Hall of Famer. Don't forget, prior to Brett Favre, we had Don Majkowski, the Magic Man. All right. And then Rodgers plays. And then what do? Out of the blue. And I was not a fan of that pick in the beginning. And I'll eat my hat right now. They draft Jordan Love out of Utah State. What does Jordan do? He sits and he watches. And he works on his mechanics. And he corrects the flaws. And he learns. And from all reports you're getting out of Green Bay, Rodgers did a much better job of mentoring Jordan Love, embracing him.
Even though it didn't seem like
the public persona didn't seem that way.
No, but I could tell you, and you can listen to Jordan Love. Jordan Love flat out says, Aaron Rodgers made me who I am today. I don't think Aaron Rodgers could have said that in his 5th or 6th year with Brett Favre. Right? You got to remember, quarterbacks in the NFL and almost every athlete in the NFL, they're alpha. They're the alpha of alpha males, and they don't want to help anybody. As far as you said about the Jets doing on a better projection, nobody wants a tank. The 53rd player on the Jet roster does not care about the draft selection next year. You know what he cares about? Him putting something on film that either the Jets are going to retain him, or when he becomes a free agent, another team's going to say, we want that guy.
Right.
When he had an opportunity to give up, he didn't give up. He played his ass off. So you're going to see the Jets make a really good effort at the end of the year. And I think the culture that Aaron Glenn had in Detroit with his defense, and he's now trying to bring to an entire team with the Jets, it's really going to manifest itself. And we're seeing it already.
Yeah, the first couple of games, people weren't happy. Now I see the fans. We're all happy with what Glenn's doing.
Yeah.
So it's all positive.
Another topic. Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs are done?
Yes.
Why, Mike? Why are the Kansas City Chiefs done, Mike?
We're right back to the Thanksgiving story again.
No. I'm just saying.
You don't give him a good answer, he's going to start cursing at his mother-in-law again.
I actually think Mahomes is on the decline.
How so?
To me, he seems slower. His passes aren't as quick. Kelsey is not himself.
It's been Taylor Swift. He's been swifted.
Swifted?
Yeah.
Whipped?
I personally think Travis wanted to retire last year. I think he stuck around because I thought he had one more Super Bowl run in him. My favorite conspiracy theory is now that the refs are not treating Mahomes like a glass china doll anymore, and he's not getting the benefit of those penalties. It's showing in how the defenses are working with each other.
That's because he came out for Trump. That's why.
Maybe, could be. What do you think Kansas City's making the playoffs?
I'm going to say no. And the reason I say no is the NFL is all about windows of opportunity for teams. And the window is generally a small window to succeed, make the playoffs, and or have a realistic chance to win the Super Bowl. For 4 or 5 years, the Kansas City Chiefs, you could almost basically put them in the Super Bowl and figure out who's coming out of the NFC. That's not what's happening this year.
Broncos.
Out of nowhere. Chiefs are more banged up. Players get older. As they get older, their athletic abilities diminish. Kelsey is not what he was 3 years ago, and it's not any fault of his own. No player wants to say, I'm not as good as I was 3 years ago, but who's the only undefeated person in the history of athletics? Father Time.
That's it. No one beats him.
That's like Gronk.
Floyd Mayweather.
Gronk retired at the right time.
Yeah, I think he went out. He knew when it was time to go, and he went out. He went out on top, right? Yeah. Are the Eagles at? I believe they're 8-5. I've been saying this all year. The record is what the record is. Okay, so they're in first place. They're going to the playoffs right now. Okay, I don't think they're as good as they are. Like, I don't think they're as good as their record is. I said this a couple of weeks. It was our last podcast or the one before. They should have lost 3 of their first 5 games. The Dallas Cowboys being one of them, and I just don't see them as that good a team. Are they? Unless the only way Dallas gets in the playoffs, now we'll get to that later, is they have to run the table and win the division. But I mean, win the division. But
Dallas sucks.
Oh, Dallas, America's team. You can stop that right now. Bite your tongue. I don't. Is there a chance the Eagles don't make the playoffs?
Yes,
Why so?
just based on their upcoming schedule.
Yeah, they have a harder road than the Cowboys do. I mean, once again, it's not the Cowboy talk yet. They losing to Detroit almost destroyed their playoff run.
That was a
We'll get to that. It's just we'll do the Eagles right now. We'll get to the Cowboys where you can trash my team if you'd like.
we usually do that in the playoffs.
I see. Very nice. Yeah, but well played.
1-0.
Well played. America's team. Go on.
Hey, if you put the ball on the tee, I'm going to hit it.
I'm going to chunk it like the Giants kicker did. Go ahead.
The Eagles are like the NFC version of the Chiefs. Again, that window, which is very limited, is probably closing. They've lost some personnel. I don't think people realize the impact that the retirement of Jason Kelsey had or was going to have on the Eagles. No disrespect to who they brought in, but I mean, that was a guy who solidified the offensive line, and he was the glue guy for the Eagles offense. The thing I don't like about the Eagles this year is the comments that are starting to come out publicly about their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, from other members of the team. Whenever you see the infighting and the bickering that gets to a public level, it's not good. Because by the time it gets to the public level, it's been going on for a while in the locker room, on the practice field, in the players' parking lot. What we're hearing now has probably been simmering all season, and that's not a good thing.
But he's kind of improving, getting a little better as the season goes on. So I don't know. Is it coming from?
I'm going to give you the athlete's mentality, right? So yes, he has played better over the last couple of weeks, but for those that were whispering behind his back or talking derogatory about him to the reporters off the record, you know what they're saying right now? Well, where was this week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? If we had this, we wouldn't be in this. Maybe we're not going to make the playoff scenario. So even though he's playing better, they're actually holding him more at fault.
I think the bigger issue for the Eagles, well, interpersonal stuff in the clubhouse is not good. A locker room, yeah, that destroys teams from within. Very few can come back from that. The Yankees in the 70s being a noted example of not liking each other and getting in fistfights and winning World Series.
And don't forget the greatest infight, 84 Padres.
Oh, yeah. So I think the bigger issue is and was my second pick in my fantasy football draft was Saquon Barkley.
700 yards.
What happened to him? How do you drop off that quickly between one season over the other with no injuries that we know about?
How old is Saquon Barkley?
He's 28, isn't he? But that's not the age. I thought the decline starts at 30.
The decline is very visible at 30, but the decline actually, and this was actually alluded to in the broadcast the other day, that for running backs in the NFL, the decline begins to manifest or show at 28 years of age, based on numbers and statistical analysis down through the years. So what we're seeing right now is the beginning of him being at the top of his game. Could be wrong. I'm a big fan of him. I like him for more what he does off the field, but again, we'll go back. Father time.
His 50 is his 50, all right.
5th or 6th.
So it would be exactly, which is peak in the first 3 and
average time in the NFL is 3 years. That's the average player.
NFL stands for not for long.
Not for long. That was Jerry Glanville.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about the refs, but he called calls like that, not for long. Okay, I'll take my beating now.
Well, but no, before you do that, you got a question. So there's no clear dominant teams this year. It's good for football. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
Well, there is a dominant team, although we're not looking at them. It's the New England Patriots. That is a full squad. That is a full put together squad. The New England Patriots, and what Vrabel's been able to do with that team is unbelievable. I mean, he's got players, but other than Drake May, can you pick any of them out of a lineup? And that to me is the dominant team in the NFL right now.
Well, I say it's the Broncos and the Colts one of those two teams.
I don't like either one of them. Danny Dimes has not been good lately. They've lost a few games in a row, and the Broncos are hit or miss. They crush the Cowboys one week and then lose to a nobody squad the next. The only consistent, The only consistent team in the NFL, in my eyes, is the Patriots right now. Seattle's good, but they can lose on any week. You know, I love the resurrection of Sam Darnold. We can do that all the time. He's an example, along with Danny Dimes, of maybe a change of scenery is the best for you, and you do better with it. But okay, so you think those other two? Why? Why the Colts and why the Broncos?
Broncos, even though that their games have been close, at least they're coming back. Knicks is doing better than anyone that they've seen in a long time. He's grown from last year to this year. He's definitely progressing. People think that everyone says
the fantasy numbers don't agree with you with Bo Nix. I'm just going to throw that out there because I have him in one of my leagues.
Fantasy football equals nerd.
Fantasy football is a barometer.
Fantasy football equals somebody that curses out their mother-in-law.
Listen to me.
On Thanksgiving.
Listen
On
to
Thanksgiving.
me.
And
Listen to me. If you presented me with a dry curry turkey, I would be throwing F-bombs. I'd be like the dad in A Christmas Story. It's above the clouds. It's in the outer space, weaving a line of expletives.
Who the hell cares?
Listen to me.
I was waiting for the end of that story where Jonathan was like, and I went to a Chinese food store.
You are a hurtful person. My opinion matters. I matter. Anyway, so what do you think about Mike's Denver Broncos and Colts narrative?
I just don't see the Colts maintaining that momentum they had in the beginning of the season, and you're starting to see it now. Things that went their way in weeks 1 through 7 are now not going their way. And it's the law of averages in sports. It happens. The Patriots are benefiting from a new head coach who brings a completely different energy and culture. I think Vrabel coaches like he played. And let's not forget, his teams in Tennessee were very good. They played tough physical football. And New England's in the Northeast. You have to play tough physical football. You have to be able to run the ball in the latter part of the season. But they're benefiting from being in the AFC East.
Yeah, well, Damon, the same guy that asked the question said, other than the Bills, who have the Pats played sub teams?
Still winning. I mean, if you want to talk that, the Eagles had the easy part of the season, and they every tough team, and I don't count the Cowboys in that because they weren't supposed to be good. Every tough team they played, they've lost to. So I agree. Maybe I enjoy this season a lot because even though I'm going on the Patriots and their record and whatnot, there's no dominant team. I don't know who the favorite is. I don't know who's going to win.
well, they're gonna Broncos, Colts, and Patriots. They should each have a bye, correct? Right.
Is this the last week of buys right here? Or is it next week?
No, for the playoffs. Yeah, they'll each get a first round bye, right?
Maybe not. There's one team that nobody is talking about in the AFC East. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, true.
They're the third seed. If the playoffs started today, they'd be the third seed, and nobody is talking about them. And last year, everybody's like, Trevor Lawrence, maybe we misunderstood who he was. He's not the greatest quarterback prospect to come out since Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. But now, 8-3. And if I'm the Jaguars, I love it.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at us. Nobody's thinking about us.
Being under the radar is the best place to be. Yep. All right. I'll take my beating now. Okay. My beloved Cowboys, America's team, in case you didn't know. They had to win. Well, they had to win out. So I knew they weren't going to win out.
Hold on. Before we go any further, can you quantify and clarify why they're called America's team?
Because they represent all that's good and pure about America.
Oh, so
Oh,
I
Jesus.
guess all the NFL championships and Super Bowls that the Packers have won, which are a lot more than Dallas.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
I only care about the Super Bowls, my friend. We weren't part of the NFL championships. We come in 1962.
Oh, so you don't believe in accepting sports for its totality?
No, we've had arguments about the dead ball and steroids with Mo all the time.
Oh, well, yeah, we're going to revisit that in the second half. Don't worry about that, especially with the contemporary ballot coming up.
I already have it up. Don't relax.
So excited.
What would you
And I'm going to, one moment, I'm going to get this. Normally I save this for the end, but I'll do it now just to piss you
No,
off.
don't do the Pete
Does
Rose
Pete
thing
Rose
yet.
belong in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, God, he's going to go in with
Yes.
Shoeless Joe Jackson. They're both going to go in on the same ballot. And
we've
you know,
discussed the family shouldn't show up.
Cooperstown, 100%. Cooperstown's going to be packed. MLB is going to make a boatload of money off of these guys' names. And yeah, 100%. If I was Pete Rose's family, and I'm sure they can't stop the Hall of Fame from, using
Right.
or putting him in there. They probably can't legally stop it. I'm sure, MLB has some kind of exclusive thing, where
Yes.
they basically own Pete Rose's name. But if I was a family, I would
Nah.
absolutely make a very public,
And we can chat more about baseball in the second half. I just wanted.
Yeah, no,
I wanted to put the needle to him. So, all right, Amir, we just had a little fun with that. I actually was crapping on Jerry Jones for the moves he was making, but they turned out to be all right. Kevin Clark, Quinn and Williams from the Jets, and his first name slips me. Elliott, that linebacker that they picked up. It was like a revelation for the defense. All of a sudden, last week, obviously this last game being an example of how it didn't go out. Cowboys didn't have to run the table, but they couldn't lose those 3 games. They beat the Chiefs, they beat the Eagles, and they had to beat Detroit, and they didn't get that done. So if they run the table, we're talking about the Eagles now. Like, the Eagles have to have this monumental collapse. And so if that's what's going on within that team, and we're talking about the Cowboys, I'm just setting it up. If the Eagles have that monumental collapse, the Cowboys have, at this point, the easier road. The hardest team they have to play is the Chargers, and I don't think Abear's playing, right?
No.
Got here in his hand. So you're taking a backup quarterback there. The Eagles have a harder road. So with the Cowboys, it's hard to predict them. For the first time ever, I've never said this, and this is why I brought up fantasy football before. Dak Prescott is a fantasy football quarterback. He puts stats up. And it was kind of like when I said before before he won his Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford, when he was on the Detroit Lions, I would draft him late, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I go, because he's playing from behind all the time. He's going to throw 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, but he's going to lose the game. Dak, for me, was that person. This year, Dak is not. Dak is the reason that they've won 6 games, not the one.
Yeah, you said that the last time.
And the defense was playing better. So I got to give Jerry Jones a little credit, because I was one of many who was going bananas about this. The Micah Parsons trade looks like it's panning out for Green Bay now. Like, the first couple of games, I would have been worried he wasn't really doing anything, but now he's getting pressures and sacks and things like that. So it looks like it's going to work out for both teams. But what about the Cowboys?
The Cowboys are a team that, if they got into the playoffs and if I was any team that has to play them in the playoffs, I'd be very, very worried. That's a team you don't want to get in the playoffs, because they have the pieces to go on a nice run. They just don't have the history of doing it.
Correct.
Can they beat your Packers?
It'd be a good game.
It'd be a great game.
A good game.
I will say this:
Packers crushed us this year. Crushed us. It wasn't even close.
But a lot of times it's all about timing.
Right.
When you catch a team on the schedule, you get them in the second week and you blow them out by 25 points, and maybe they're not ready yet. And let's not forget the beginning of the season, because the NFL cut back on the preseason. Now there's only 3 games, not 4 games, and that really stunts a team's continuity and getting into a rhythm, especially on offense.
Before I have a thing about preseason. The starters don't play.
No.
It's all about the second stringers and third stringers and that 53rd man that's going to make the team. So what does preseason matter for continuity if the starters aren't gelling in games? They play like one quarter.
Exactly. And that, if you look at since they revamped the preseason schedule, you look at games 1 through 4. Some teams come out of the box hot and they're flying, and they'll go 3-1, 4-0.
Colts.
Yep. And other teams that you expect, and you're like, what do you mean they're 1-3 or 2-2?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get it and the button goes.
Well, you want to do preseason? You want to do the Cowboys?
Quick. I think they want to add. We're 17 games, right? They want to add. Now they wanted for next year. I think they wanted to go to 18, which I guess would cut the preseason down.
It's too long. 18. Yeah. That football is a rough sport.
Yeah.
And
is that 18th week to make up for the non?
An NFL owner will make more money on a regular season game than they will on a preseason game.
Absolutely.
That's why they want the extra regular season game.
So your thoughts on the Cowboys and where they're at and what you think?
I think they will make the playoffs.
You think they have to run the table? You think they're going to run the table?
Damon says the Cowboys aren't going nowhere anytime soon.
I think
I said go big blue.
I think there you go. I think
Because it's going to be between the Cowboys and the Eagles.
The only way the Cowboys make the playoffs, and he's correct about that, is the Eagles have to collapse, which is possible, and the Cowboys have to run the table. They have the offense to run the table. They have 2 number 1 receivers, a serviceable tight end, and a running back that's over 1,000 yards this year. They have a good line. Didn't play well last game, but they have a good offensive line. And like I told you, I got to give Jerry Jones credit. He gave up 1 first rounder, got Quinnen Williams, and gave up Micah Parsons, got Kevin Clark, and the team is playing better. It's a better defense. They got people back from injury. Overshown's back. Terrell Diggs is back. The Deron Bland is back. So the defense, not last week, not the last game, but the defense is playing much better now.
And I call Sirianni the Aaron Boone of the NFL.
Yeah.
He's always right when you think he's going to get fired, he gets
It's going to
saved.
It's going to be an interesting run. They have like a 6% chance, which is fine. But
So
if
you're saying there's a chance.
there's always a chance. If you my mother-in-law might invite me back to Thanksgiving. There's always a chance.
I'm
There's
pretty
always
sure
a
you're
chance.
never getting invited back.
But so
Next year we'll have a Thanksgiving Day special episode with Jonathan Fredericks by himself.
yeah, he's gonna wear a GoPro.
wait a minute. Are you telling me I can cook a turkey dinner for myself and sit on my couch and watch football? Where do I sign up for that? Right now, I will take that right now. Where do I sign up for that?
Come to my house.
That is no problem. So, but to tie this all up before we take a quick break is, we're all talking the same thing. There is no favorite. There is no favorite for the Super Bowl. The playoffs aren't, other than the Patriots, probably. The playoffs are not set. None of these teams are solid in yet. And it's going to be an interesting run to see how far it goes.
You got Tommy all fired up now. He says the Rams aren't a favorite to go to the Super Bowl.
No,
Of course they are.
no.
Only if they bring back Vince Ferragamo.
They got two solid running backs. They got come on, stop.
Yeah.
Nakua and Adams.
Yeah,
Please.
they need heaven can wait. They need what's that actor's name?
Mark Harmon,
No. That
Meatloaf.
Ron Jeremy.
Well, Peter North.
He was in Red.
Slinging ropes.
He was a Slayer in the 70s. He's married
Keanu
to
Reeves, the replacements.
no. The heaven can wait.
Neil Diamond,
I love Neil Diamond. I wish I could.
Peter Gabriel.
Rich Conti,
I'll
Meatloaf.
Nick Chuffi.
Sorry, Nick.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
It'll come to me.
Warren Beatty?
I could. Warren Beatty.
Beatty.
Thank you very much.
Oh, get the hell! Look at
No, did you
Dawn
ever,
from left field.
No, did you ever?
Dawn's brains is clogged with mucus and brain damage.
Did you ever see
Google
Heaven?
told me.
Did you ever see that movie Heaven Can Wait? He dies. They take his soul
no,
too
but I've
early.
heard the Meatloaf song "Heaven Can Wait."
Well, no, not the same thing.
Yeah,
So
Heaven Can Wait.
he gets killed accidentally. They take his soul. So in the end, they put him in this quarterback's body, this billionaire who buys the Rams, and he's going to take him to the Super Bowl. And then they found another body for him. So that guy dies and he becomes somebody else. But yeah, Warren Beatty.
Your explanation is the reason a lot of people do not know about this movie.
It's great. It's great. You should watch it. It's awesome.
I'll take Stafford.
And then he dies.
And then he dies. And then he told his mother-in-law, "Get my fucking turkey."
And the worst part about it was he promised little Timmy he'd score a touchdown. He lied.
Oh.
All right,
Shall we take a
gents,
break?
Yeah, get up and stretch your feet. You've been at it for about 50 minutes. Get up and stretch. Do whatever you got to do, and we'll be back in 5.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker.
Felt like it was important to play this again with John's
Hello.
bombs.
Views or positions of any entities they represent.
Thank you for.
We're safe now that we said that.
Thank you. You're all invited over my mother-in-law's for Thanksgiving.
And for any parent that is in the car listening to this podcast with their children, we do apologize for somebody's language.
Whose? Mo, you got to watch your potty mouth. All right.
Yeah, you're right.
So, all right. So we talked a lot of football. I enjoyed that quite a bit. You have one more thing you'd like to discuss before we move on to the America's pastime.
Right. The that little picture there, if you got that up there.
What's it about?
No, it's about the QBs. The best class was it the 1990s, 2000s, 2010, 2020s.
Much like when we talk about baseball and the idea of comparing time frames. I mean, like I think we talked this the last time, like Dan Fouts and Fran Tarkington and all these other quarterbacks were doing this in a league where first off they took every receiver's head off, and there were no penalties for anything, and it wasn't a passing league. So I don't know how. I mean, it's close enough with those guys, but I don't know.
Like the 90s.
I guess it'd have to be the 90s, but I'm being biased because that's like Cowboys won 3 that time.
No, but look at it. I mean, those guys are monsters.
And they also had black and white TVs back then.
It was color, my friend. Color. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Your field froze over. That's why you won that suit. That's why you beat the Cowboys that one time.
Hey,
Can't even pay for a heater.
Win's a win.
tactical advantage.
Can't even from the Tactical Financial Studios in lovely downtown.
Oh, look at you, bro! In tune with your star player today, kid.
Do I get some kind of remuneration for that softball?
and no F-bombs. So there you go.
Yeah.
So who do you think, Mike?
I'm with the 2000s.
Why so?
They have the most Super Bowl winners. 12. They won the most Super Bowls.
Is Super Bowl the metric for the quarterback?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going 1990s. I'm an old school guy.
Yeah. Well, old school would probably be. I started watching football in the 70s, so
Fran Tarkington.
The options started in the 1990s.
I know.
Stop trying to embarrass me.
I didn't follow along.
Damon agrees with Mike.
Here comes a story about Don Meredith.
90s or 2000s. They won all the Super Bowls.
There's a meme on that comes up every once in a while. It's got Howard Cosell next to Jenner and O.J. Simpson at Monday Night Football. If I could blast you in the future, you're not going to believe what happened. Oh, good times. So we'll start with the Mets because they've made a few moves. What are your thoughts on picking up? What are your thoughts on picking up Devin Williams? And why am I drawing a blank on the second? No, the second.
Oh,
baseman.
Simeon.
What are your thoughts on that?
Williams, I'm fine with, but like everyone else is saying, they got to sign Diaz. The only problem is it going to be the 5 years, 3 years, or will the Mets and will he agree to 4? That's, I think, what the
why do they have to sign Diaz?
Devin Williams, he should have been really good for the Yankees last year. Should have been. He should have been their closer. I don't know what happened to him. Last quarter of the season, he was playing very well. It wasn't.
Yeah, his stats.
Right.
I think from like they said, mid-August on.
Right. He was playing very well then. I guess he kind of came into his own. But moving him over to the Mets, I don't think he's the answer at closer. I think he's the 8th inning guy.
Right.
And that was the Mets we were lacking starting pitching, which is why our relievers were destroyed throughout the year.
Mets are lacking a lot of other things.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Stop it. Yankee fans. Can't even look at you. What happens with Alonso? He's not getting 7 years anywhere, so he's got to get off that. Nimmo being
How
gone.
old's Alonso? 31? 30.
Is he 30? I thought he's 29. I thought he's in his 20s.
Well, if he's
Blue, can you look that up, please? How old is Pete Alonso?
If you go by his hairstyle, he's 54.
Yeah, 100%. But if even more to the point,
Sorry,
if he's
John.
under, if he's under
hairstyle doesn't disturb me.
If he's under 30 years old, why don't you think he'll get 7 years?
He's 30.
Okay, his skills. I'm a big Pete Alonso fan. He's a Met. His skills are diminishing. He can't play first base the same way.
Well,
his stats, although he's hitting home runs, it's not as good as it used to be, and he's predictable. He's aging. That's just basically what it is.
I think he'll get 6 or 7. I believe he's okay with DH, but
I think anybody that's
if he was to agree to be in DH his last 3 years.
Right.
Then I think
The only move that hurt somebody on the Mets so far, I really liked Brandon Nimmo, but I understood they're taking a higher contract for a shorter amount of time with Simeon, and Nimmo's going out with a longer contract, so they can get out of that faster. He's a steady second baseman. He's legit. The only person who gets hurt in that scenario is that kid down in AAA, Williams.
Well, they're saying he's coming up.
How's he going to come up? Who's going down to bring him up? Because he's not playing second base. He's not playing shortstop. He's not playing third base. So where's he going? He can't play outfield.
Yeah, I guess they're back to that scenario. Is Batty?
It also moves when you move Nimmo out. It also opens up a free agent acquisition in the outfield. If you're going to move McNeil, they might. If McNeil's part of a trade, that opens up another spot for acquisition purposes.
Although now it seems like they might not be moving McNeil and could keep him as the super utility guy.
I don't mind that either. What I'm saying is I can see the Mets thinking, and now that Uncle Stevie has his casino, because gambling's never bothered anything in sports ever.
Stop it. Stop it.
Pete Rose. But the idea is that I see what the Mets are trying to do. I can see it. Whether they do it is another story, but I can see what they're trying to do. Thoughts on the Mets before we go over to the Yankees?
They suck.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
Pat was trying to get something out.
Come on.
He's trying to be positive.
Didn't you just chastise me on my potty mouth? You're a mic.
I like what the Mets are doing. The problem I foresee is sometimes things look really good on pen and paper.
Agreed.
And then when you have to go onto a playing field, it just doesn't materialize. But they're doing if I was a Met fan, I'd be very happy with what they're doing. They're making changes. They think they need to make changes. The Alonso contract situation is going to be that big albatross.
They're not going to give him 7 years. There's no way.
My feeling
no way. 4 with a fifth-year option on the team.
If they do give him a 7-year contract, it's because Pete's a Met, and they want that one guy who spent his entire career. And it's not for the last 2 years of his playing. It's for the next 5 to 10 years of his off-the-field contributions to the Mets organization.
I see that. Do you think they're going to get Scrubble? Do you think they're going to get him, or they're going to go out there another starter or multiple starters?
I know Detroit is trying to decide what they want to do too, because this is going to be because tomorrow is starts the the winter meetings.
Hot stove.
So it's going to be big.
Sir.
Who are all these guys going to be signing? Schwarber, Alonso, and anyone else?
I don't want Schwarber. I don't want
I'm
him.
fine with Schwarber.
I've never.
he's
Obviously
more
the guy.
suited for Yankee Stadium.
He is.
But
He's a gamer. I get it, but I also have never understood the Schwarber fascination. I mean,
It's home
he's
runs, and the league is all home runs
and
now.
listen, and
Big
he is a
splash.
gamer. I get it. Like he seems to rise to the moment. But I just the money that he thinks he's going to get, I just don't understand how anybody justifies that. Maybe I'm missing something.
I believe the key for the Mets in 2026 is an unheralded contribution from based out of Charleston, just outside Charleston, South Carolina. There's a TJ White. I think if he can bring something to the table in regards to making positive contributions to the Mets, I think that their season will go as far as they can go.
I know teams are looking to this year, but don't forget they're going to have the lockout in 2027. To me, to see who spends the most, because Angels already said they're going to go crazy spending. Supposedly the Pirates, who haven't been spending, they're going to wind up spending.
Yeah, but the
Pirates aren't spending anything. They'll spend the minimum. They'll spend the minimum.
Got to see who spends. If all these teams start spending this, there's definitely going to be everyone's going to be in for this year, not next
But the
year.
Angels have a history of spending and not getting the product back on the field.
True.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about getting stuck with a contract.
I mean, the Pirates, the Pirates are going to have that dilemma if they're not going to spend. what are you going to do with Skeens? Are you just going to ride him until you can
They're
cash out on him?
They're not going to be able to re-sign him at the number he's going to deserve.
But
They're just not.
he's made comments where he wants to be in Pittsburgh. He wants to be part of that. We're going to change the culture and the perception of Pittsburgh and the Pirates. And
Good for him on that.
it sounds great, and you hope it's true because let's be honest, if it's just the Dodgers and the Cubs and the Yankees and the Red Sox, baseball is really boring.
And the Reds are even supposedly in the market for all these players.
We'll see.
So.
Which team wants to step up and do things? Anthony in the chat was saying that the Mets should go after nothing but pitching. I agree. The pitching staff needs to be upgraded significantally on many levels. They have many gaping holes in the pitching staff, but there's batters out there to be had. And if you can put like a kind of like a Yankees murderers row, a la the 2000s teams, with Jeter and all that. I mean, that takes away a lot of pitching deficiencies. I mean, no one's ever going to have Mariano again. I mean, that the ultimate closer,
And you got to compliment each other pitching.
Yeah, true.
Pitching will only take you so far. Eventually, you have to put the bat on the ball
Right,
and put the
yes.
runners across home plate.
Yes.
But we've had this discussion. You weren't here the last time. None of these pitchers are going more than 5 innings. So I think the money is going to relievers now. Good starters are only going 5 innings. I know it's all analytics and arm and all that and injuries and things like that. But it's so scientific now. And am I going to spend $400 million on a pitcher that pitches once every five times because we have 5 starters now and is only going to go 5 innings? Why am I wasting that kind of money on him when I can spend it somewhere else?
Yeah. I mean, if you get that 6th inning, 7th inning guy that's going to come in 4 out of 5 games in a week,
Right.
as an owner, I'm like, that's more bang for my buck.
But
Right. Especially when you can look at, I mean, not just Skeens last year, but then early DeGrom. I mean, you're talking about
he had a great season last
just
year.
absolute
Good for him.
stud
I'm really happy.
pitchers with minuscule ERAs,
Right.
on a losing team.
Yep.
So yeah, dumping all that money into one arm, like you said, for a guy that's going to pitch every 5th day. If you don't have, to Pat's point, if you don't have the offense to back that up, it's really good for nothing.
And the problem becomes what happened to the Mets last year, which is the starters who were supposed to go 5 innings were only going 3 innings, and our entire relief staff. How many arms went down? Like 4 or 5 arms, and then the ones we had left couldn't get it through 1 inning, and that's where we collapsed in the second half of the season because we were lights out the first half. So where would you spend the money if it was you? Would you spend it on bats or pitching? If you had to pick one.
Mostly bats.
Bats. I think I'm bats as well. I'll grab one starter, a couple of long relievers, and see where it takes me from there. But I'd be loading up on the bats. What say you? Bats or pitching?
I'd focus on pitching innings 6 through 9.
Okay.
But again, it's going to be, is Cohen going to go 300 over 300, stay where he is? Same thing. And then you have
I think we've seen the end of the 300. Are you talking about
no
wins?
overall 300 million.
I thought you about 300 wins.
No,
We've seen the end.
No.
It's never coming again.
Mike Wren says, "Bring back Dave Rigetti." Is he as a pitcher or as a pitching coach?
Full disclosure, Mike Wren is a childhood friend,
Yes.
one of the funniest individuals you'll ever meet in your entire life, and certifiably the #1 Kiss fan in the world.
Oh,
Gene Simmons has bought Kiss memorabilia off Mike Wren.
Wow.
that's an
True story.
That's an accomplishment.
And Mike was nice enough. He took me to a Kiss concert in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and we were in the 8th row. And I always said, I want to go to a Kiss concert, but I'll only go with you, Mike. Mike pulled off, and it was one of the greatest concerts I've ever gone to in my entire life. So Mike Wren, a.k.a. Desk Chicken Woodlawn, love you, buddy.
So how does he want Dave Rigetti, though? Since you now read his mind, where do you want the old school Dave Rigetti pitching the no-hitter against the Boston Red Sox, and or does he want him as a pitching coach?
I'm pretty sure at some point in our early teens, Mike and I went down on the 4 train from Woodlawn to Yankee Stadium and sat in the bleachers, and Dave Rigetti was pitching, and I think that's stuck in his memory.
Remember that the old hitch he had, the leg kick that he had.
I think we should get Sid Finch. Nobody.
Who?
Sid Finch.
What?
Sid Finch.
Sid Finch.
Yes.
I think Mo's too young for that.
No, Sid Finch was a mythical.
Yeah.
Mythical pitcher.
George Plimpton, Sports Illustrated. April Fools. But okay, we've rambled with the Mets. Now I'm going to let the Yankees have fun.
Well, that's it.
I-
Are they
I-
going to spend?
I'm curious as to the needs of the Yankees. We always, like,
Everything.
no, but you look at them on paper, like you'd said on paper, and they seem like a solid team. Like they seem to spend money in the right places. But for the last few years, like Aaron Judge hasn't been able to take them over the top.
Darrity's on board. Yankees suck. That's
Yes. Well, thank God somebody finally said it.
I believe we need to ban that, listener.
I believe that's a violation of the YouTube rules, isn't it?
No.
But
You should not talk about
Yeah, exactly. If Yankees suck is a violation of the YouTube rules, you just got us banned for good.
that's it. That's it. This whole thing was demonetized. So Yankees needs.
a lot.
Where do you start?
Do you know what I think the Yankees need to do? And it's the number one thing to make their season for 2026 go as well as they wanted to. They just need to play confident baseball. I really don't think that they played with a whole lot of confidence last year. You started to see it with certain players where, I use this analogy from when I played high school baseball. You got to want the ball to hit to you if you're an infielder. Bottom of the ninth, you're up by 1, bases are loaded, 2 outs. You got to sit there, and if I'm pitching, I want guys behind me going, I want that ball hit to me. I'm going to make the play. And sometimes I watch the games, and I'm like, there's nobody there that wants the ball hit to them because they're just, it's for whatever reason, mental block. We all saw what happened with Volpe last year. I think the expectations on him were placed way too high. Local kid. We all saw the pictures of him at the World Series parade and beating Yankee Stadium, and the next Derek Jeter.
He's not going to be your shortstop.
There is no next Derek Jeter. Just like for the last 35, 40 years, they've tried to have the next Lawrence Taylor in football.
Someone tried to wear his number, as we learned in the first half.
We failed to, and I think it's a credit to the players that, like, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. Love the Yankees. I thought Derek Jeter was an amazing player.
He was. Did it naturally, too.
Now as he's not playing and I see what's taking shortstop after him, I have a greater appreciation for what he did day in, day out. Derek Jeter wanted the ball hit to him.
I say it all the time. I'm a Met fan, always have been. The best player and the one that I've always enjoyed, the best player I've ever seen is Derek Jeter. And I think, and there's another reason because we're going to get to it with the contemporary Hall of Fame in a little bit there, Mo. But I think he did it clean. I don't think he took a drug. I don't think, a pain pill, whatever. But I mean, I don't think he took a drug. I don't think he enhanced himself in any way. His skills that they were diminished predictably as he got older. And he was still one of the most elite shortstops and players in the game. Best player I've ever seen.
My 2 favorite Derek Jeter memories of all time was the diving catch down the third baseline where he went into the stands, and I still do not forgive that lieutenant from the NYPD who allowed him to go face first into the chair and bust himself open. But that's what he brought every single day. He didn't make plays like that all the time, but he was willing to throw his face into a chair to catch a ball. That's what it meant to him. And my other favorite memory was when he started off the World Series at Shea Stadium and hit a home run, and I was there, and the place went silent.
My favorite home run was the first game back in New York at Shea and Mike Piazza hitting that home run. And I remember that. You had this collective, it's okay. It's going to be all right. That's my favorite home run ever.
As a Yankee fan, I saw that, and I was like, you know what, man? Sports does heal.
It does, which is why they got to keep the politics and all the other nonsense out of it.
Agreed.
So if you were Yankee GM, what's the first player you're going? Make money no object for this conversation. Who's the first player you're going after? And then I'll ask you who you want.
Mike.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. No, money is no object, and you're a Yankee GM. Who are you getting?
Bellinger.
Bellinger? You should re-signing him. Okay.
Yeah.
Why? See, this is where you have to elaborate on your witticisms.
Because he's multi-positional. Outfield, first base. You could do DH too if you want.
Okay.
Play anywhere in the outfield. But the whole problem is now, I don't know if they expected Grisham to do that 22. Take the $22 million.
Grisham didn't have a bad season.
So
He's not the problem. So you'd resign Bellinger because the Mets are looking at Bellinger
Right.
too.
But a lot of people are looking at Bellinger.
Bellinger is actually the better fit for the Mets.
He is probably,
Yeah.
but the Yankees. I think I agree with you. I think the Yankees should re-sign him. Who would be yours if money's no object.
I would go with either Clay Bellinger or a Clay Bellinger type player. I don't think the Yankees are a superstar away from winning the World Series. I think they need to bring that player that gives them multiple avenues of utilization during a game at multiple positions.
It was like the when the Yankees were winning all those World Series, the two third big Charlie, what was his name?
Hayes,
And then the
Chocolate Haze.
yes, sir. The white guy,
Scott
Brocious. And then you had role players that just did what they had to do. You know, obviously, I mean, you have Bernie Williams, you have Derek Jeter, you have Jorge Posada, you got Mariano, you got Penn. I mean, you got good players. I'm not showing that.
Those lineup cards in the 90s, they wrote themselves.
Right.
The most winningest Yankee team ever was '98 one, and they did not have a single starting all-star on that roster.
Said that.
It was just, you're right. They were a cohesive unit.
I would like
role players and mix of role players and stars. It was
good glue player is what the Yankees need.
Yes. Well, then that gets to the Bellinger. I mean, I think that's where you got to go.
They have enough star power there.
You think Bellinger as well for the Yankees? That would be where you'd spend the money?
I mean, Bellinger is the star. Volpe is going to be a problem because he's now right. The expectation definitely was too high. He's obviously not going to be. He may be. You know, his fielding may improve. He was going to be maybe 250 hitter at best.
That's all-star material these days.
Yeah. But even if he gives you better fielding, he's going to underperform what they expected, and now he's a problem to the point where he's exhibited enough weaknesses that it's going to be hard to trade him and get any value back for him, and you can't send him down to the minor leagues again. I mean, that ship has sailed. He's going to be in the majors now, and now you got to figure out what you're going to do with him.
But let's not forget, how old is he? 22, 23?
Yeah, he's young.
He's real young, yeah.
He's got so much more ahead of him than behind him. And this is the problem with playing in New York.
True, it is.
There's no patience, either from a fan perspective, from the sports media perspective, or even from the front office perspective.
Yeah, but so you think
the mythology of the Yankees, though, and it's not 27 World Series, but the mythology of the Yankees is World Series or bust. That whole idea, that whole public persona of the Yankees plays into what you're talking about. They don't have the time to waste on bringing up AAA ball players and developing them up here.
It's the patience,
and it's not World Series for them anymore. It's playoffs. That's all.
But they make the playoffs almost every year. Every year.
Yeah.
So I mean I know the World Series is what you want, but if you're gauging success, if your team goes to the playoffs every single year, how many Major League Baseball teams would settle for that? I mean, you're in the playoffs. You got a chance every year. Every year. I mean,
if you're a Pittsburgh Pirate fan and you said, "Hey, your team's going to make the playoffs 5 out of the next 7 years," probably not have a realistic shot of making the World Series or winning a World Series. They would sign
off on that.
Their firstborn child for that.
We're
very spoiled here in New York.
All you have to do is get hot in playoffs.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Get hot at the right time.
Well, to Damon's point too, he had made a comment earlier, and in the comment he had said that Hal is not his father, which is the truth. I mean,
well, I don't think the Yankees have as much money as they used to, like the dollar wise that they used to have, like under George. I think they were the preeminent spenders back in the day, and they could just print money because they were the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
You're dealing with other billionaires now in the market and how money gets pushed around and whatnot. I don't blame Hal. I just don't think they have the same money that they had before.
And I think the gap between the Yankees in the 90s and 80s with their money resources and the other teams compared to now is greatly shrunk.
Steve Cohen's the richest man in baseball. You know, I mean, and money doesn't buy you championships. It helps, but it doesn't buy you championships. But I mean, like you're competing in the same market now with a guy that can outspend you on any player that he wants.
Well, I was thinking about this. Do we really think George would be the spender in this time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
George is like Donald Trump, never changing him. Absolutely. If he thought there was
he'd go in his own pockets.
If he thought there was a chance to win a World Series and grab a player and take the tax hit and do anything like that, he would spend the money. George Steinbrenner was one of a kind. One of a kind in that regard.
And again, there was a time period in New York where people hated Steinbrenner as the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's gone, there's a greater appreciation for his dedication and his passion to say, here's the checkbook. I'll sign the check. You get me the players.
Yeah.
but he also demanded performance.
Right.
You're not getting that from Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen's not in the paper for getting to an argument with a Reggie Jackson or a Billy Martin or anybody like that.
Well, that was the comment I made before. There were legendary brawls in the Yankee dugout and in the clubhouse, and they hated each other. But when they got on the field, they played.
Yeah.
Well,
We hate each other, but we hate the Red Sox more.
That's true.
I see that kind of a problem that the Yankees have is they hold on. Mets, if you know the way that Stearns picked up his all these relievers and whoever, if they're not performing, he just Cohen and him just let them go. They'll
The Mets
give
have
up the money.
This is a weird way of putting it. The Mets have an advantage on the Yankees in this regard. There's no expectations on the Mets. The Yankees are expected to win the World Series. That's just the mystique of the Yankees. And so where it might be feasible for the Yankees to bring up, say, 3 AAA ball players next year and have them starting in the major leagues and develop them and take the lumps for that season or maybe 2 seasons and maybe not even make the playoffs to get them up there, the Yankees can't do that. Their team that fan base will not allow them to do that. They're just that successful and that good, and the mystique that they have going forward will not allow them to do what the Mets do. Because the Mets are in New York market. They want to win. I want to win. I want to win another World Series before I die. That'd be great. But we don't have the same, and I use this term loosely, problem that the Yankees have. The Yankees have that problem.
Yeah.
They need the ball. I think also too. Sure, they need hitting, but I think they have the pitching. Do you want to? They have the perfect rotation.
After Cole Hamels, who do you have any faith in on the Yankees starting pitching? After him, who?
Garrett Cole?
Yeah.
After you said
Cole.
home.
Yeah, Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels. Yeah.
Whatever.
What's in
That,
that?
that made my brain lock up a little bit.
I got Cole. I got
Yikes.
Cole right. So I apologize.
What's in that orange?
Sadly,
Well,
orange
you
juice.
can't even have confidence in Garrett Cole right now because you don't know what he's going to come back like. Is he going to come back like Verlander? Is he?
But my question, although I got the wrong player, my question was, other than him,
Well, Max Fried was. Are you kidding me? Max Fried was solid.
he's an injury away.
But
He's an
everybody-
injury away.
I'm gonna do it all
every
pitchers.
No,
pitcher-
some pitchers are more injury prone than others, and Max Fried is more injury prone than others. 100% on that. He's a great pitcher.
Today's broadcast has been brought to you by Gloomy Gus,
Yeah.
also known as Jonathan.
There's
Fredericks.
one injury away.
You have to look at reality, and the Yankees took a risk, and it paid off. Okay, I'm not saying it didn't, but he gets injured, and he gets serious injuries, not minor injuries. He gets seriously injured. So, can you rely on him for multiple seasons?
No,
There's
but-
and I agree with you. There's very few pitchers you can say that about.
Baseball is now gone to, you got to take it season by season. The projection of, this person is going to be at their peak for the next 3, 4, 5 years, out the window.
Mhm.
All I care about as a fan of the Yankees right now is what are they going to do in 2026?
The only excluding the injury that Aaron Judge had a few years ago, he's been pretty much your most consistent player year in and year out.
You son of a bitch. You know what you just did.
I know what I did. You know what I did there, right? Anyway, but like I said, I'm a fair Met fan. I can look at the Yankees, across the river there, and understand how good they are, and understand how they do things. Like I don't really get into to jump back on the Mets for a minute because you brought it up. Stearns, for example, I don't know if I like the way he does things. I'm not, picking up like that 1 year, 2 years ago when he picked up a few reclamation projects, and it worked. It worked that year. We got to the NL championship, but like last year, we learned that reclamation projects are reclamation projects for a reason. Like, so do you think Stearns has the better way of looking at it? Or do you think would you rather have a Cashman in our general, if you could take Cashman right now, would you rather have him or Stearns?
Stearns.
Why, Mike? Why do you want Stearns?
Stearns. I like. Some don't like what he's doing, but I like what he does. I know he's signing these small players and whatever, the projects or whatever. Don't forget, you're doing this for the spring training. You're bringing in every year. You're bringing in the 30, 40 extra players. He does get those good guys. Sure, it didn't work out last year,
Right.
which I believe he learned not to go, even though I know he signed two no-name pitchers. You know, they have the 4 ERA, 6 ERA.
Mhm.
I think eventually it will again work out this season.
Okay.
And then the way that I know it's small market. He has the small market thinking, but again, I think he learned his lesson, and he's going to do exactly what the fans.
And I've got to be fair to Stearns. He did sign Juan Soto, a huge contract, so it's not all small ball reclamation project. I get that,
Right.
But for you, like my Stearns Cashman argument, if the Mets, if you're the owner, which general manager do you want?
It's tough to give an answer just based on this. Cashman has such more of a track record
True.
than Stearns. With that being said, I'm going to go with Cashman just because I believe his thinking as a general manager has evolved, where before it was off-season, big name, big free agent splash, and now it's more of let's wait and see how we start the season. Let's identify our holes and our weaknesses, and then now he's going to make the big acquisition
at the trade deadline.
Trade deadline. Personally, I think that is
But
a solution I like better, just because you invest in your team to start the season, your opening roster. As a general manager, you got to have faith in that. These are our guys. This is what's going to take it done. And you know what? You give everybody a chance. And if you don't perform, well, guess what? Picking up the phone and making a call.
Well, I'm going to go back to football with Jalen Hurts. How come you can't do it at the beginning, and then as soon as you're down in third, fourth place, you making all these trades to improve? Why not do it at the beginning so you're not?
It's so much harder in football than baseball.
It is a lot harder.
Baseball is a team sport played by 9 individuals.
Right.
Football is a team sport where all 11 have to be in such sync that it's very hard to take a quarterback in week 7, drop them into a team saying, all right, fix it.
But what I don't like about that with
No, that's the answer, Mike. We're done.
Damon's not a Cashman fan either. He says Cashman's got to go. He says, when the bread is stale, you feed it to the pigeons.
But he waits to take. He'll take the credit. You shouldn't be taking the credit at the end when it should really be at the beginning. That's how I feel. He's making himself as the big shit of MLB because
We're getting demonetized again. I started a trend on this podcast.
We give 17 cents. It's all good.
Mike, I got a bar of soap for you.
But I have that problem. That's why I have a problem with Cashman, because he wants to.
Can I ask the Yankee fans? I apologize because you just said something. How can any Yankee fan have a problem with Cashman? You go to the playoffs every year.
Well, look,
every year.
Why are you looking at me?
The one guy on the chat says they say Cashman's got to go. Well, it gets back to my statement, Mo. It gets back to my statement about the fact that the Yankee fans and the expectation. He takes your team to the playoffs every year. How can you complain about this guy?
Well, in fairness, I'm not the one complaining. I just read the comment.
General sense.
He's something that he also pointed out, which is true. He said, what has Cashman done recently? He says signs a big name here and there and tries to get lucky. I think you got to change up the methodology. I think, and it's kind of what Pat was saying earlier. Like you have to, whether it's patience or, just investing more in role players. Obviously look how Stanton's worked out. That was, you would think it would be a dream having Stanton and Judge in the same lineup, and you can't keep Stanton on the field.
Well, they knew that when he was in Miami. He got hurt all the time there too.
Yeah.
That was a roll of the dice too. He was looking to have a murderer's row on number 3, 4, and I don't blame him. And Juan Soto. I understood what he was trying to do there.
The Yankees of the 90s and 2000s never played behind. Now they've always behind. And
yeah, and listen to the old Steinbrenner point. Steinbrenner would not have let Soto go.
No.
No. He would not have been outbid.
I honestly think Soto would have left. I think he wanted to leave.
You think so?
He enjoyed his time with the Yankees. Don't get me wrong. But I just think that Soto's athletic package is, I'm going to go to the Mets and I'm going to take the Mets to that level.
Right.
And I'll get all the credit. It's all about Soto. If he wins a World Series with the Yankees, it's like, hey, Soto won a World Series on Aaron Judge's Yankees.
I get. Oh.
You got to hold. There you go.
That's the
I get that.
The FCC did that.
Yeah, I know.
John,
I know. They saw another cloud of F-bombs coming. So
keep it out of your mother-in-law somehow.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put some curse on me by now. But I've been telling that story for 15, 20 years now.
I losing Soto as much as and listen, I know we talked about it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna say I was happy to see Soto go, but I knew everything I needed to know about Juan Soto and his makeup as a player when they interviewed him. It was less than an hour after the Yankees lost, and they asked him about his contract or whatever and what his feeling for the offseason was, and he had said, he's like, oh, we'll be taking calls from all 30 teams and all this. It's like, bro, your team just lost the World Series and you're already putting yourself, you're not, there's no like, it's just too soon to even think about that. We just lost the World Series. I'm going to take a week to decompress or nah, he was already pimping himself out less than an hour after his team just lost the World Series. I mean, I was like, so that's why I was like, as much as I know losing him hurt, I didn't really cry that hard to see him go because again, it's repeating the same thing over. That's not the kind of player if you're trying to build a cohesive team, a cohesive unit, that's not the kind of mindset you want. That's not the kind of mindset you want to spend, millions of dollars on, hundreds of millions of dollars.
I think that attitude by Soto, which is, I'm okay with it. It's just very emblematic of the current professional athlete.
Yeah.
There is loyalty, but again, at the end of the day, is these men and women professional athletes, they're the alpha of alphas in their respective sport. And, you and I lose the World Series, we're sitting in a dark room for a week, just absolutely replaying every game, every pitch, every inning. These guys.
Yeah.
But it's also, forward. So, I mean, you like him or you don't. But
Bryce Harper.
Tom Brady.
Tom
Brady took less money to make sure, okay, he was married to a supermodel and had her money, but fine. He was worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he took less money so that the Patriots could bring in more players so he could go back to the Super Bowl. It wasn't about him and that money at that point. And I think a lot of players, everyone says your first contract, you're a millionaire, fine, but you're playing for that second contract.
Yes.
And then that second contract is where you make the money. And if you make it to a third contract, that's where all these players forget. They want more money, which means now how many dollars do you need? How many zeros do you need at the end of your bank account in order to do something? And I think that's what destroys teams in the end. It's not the first two contracts.
Well, and to Pat's point, when he was talking about Derek Jeter, that was one of the things early on that impressed me the most about him is that, I guess his contract expired right before A-Rod, or right after rather, A-Rod signed that. The $250 million one, or he became the first player to make $10 million a year or whatever. And they went to Jeter and they're like, oh, well, now that, A-Rod got $250 million, what do you think you're going to get? And he was just very flat. He's like, after a certain amount of money, it's just monopoly money. It's like, all I know is anytime I need anything, I go to the ATM machine, take out cash. It's there. And I let my agent and my accountant worry about the rest. Like he wasn't thinking in that mindset. Like, oh yeah, well if he's getting 250 million, I bet you I can get 300 million. And I bought up Bryce Harper because you were saying like,
Boo.
Huh?
Boo.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not a big fan either. But it's Anthony says there's no more loyalty. We go to the highest bidder. Well, to Harper, I mean, I think he probably, if and when I don't know when his next contract expires. I know Philly locked him up for a while, but if and when it did, I think he would stay in Philly. I think he would give Philly a hometown discount. I think he would stay there. There's
a very small circle of professional athletes who, I believe, and it's been proven, they don't need that max contract. A Tom Brady, a Derek Jeter. They play chess when other people are playing checkers.
I agree.
Brady sacrificed salary to make his team better, to win Super Bowls, which then made the Tom Brady brand even that much more valuable.
Correct.
Same thing went with Derek Jeter.
Didn't
There's
the NFL
some athletes that are living strictly off sponsorship and endorsement deals. I'll
Right.
give you a perfect example. Marshawn Lynch and Rob Gronkowski. They both flat out say they have not spent their NFL salary paychecks. They've lived off endorsements.
I agree. And didn't Tom Brady get some ridiculous contract for Fox Sports? Like when he went out, it's some ridiculous amount of money.
$30 million a year
Yeah.
to give you bone dry analysis. And I don't understand how he's an NFL broadcaster when he's a part owner.
Yeah,
of
I don't
a
get that.
franchise.
That's another one.
And this could wheel it right into the contemporary ballot discussion. I miss the days of, the Mattingly, the Gwynn, the Boggs, the George Brett, the Cal Ripkins. People won't Boggs doesn't really count because he bounced around a little bit. But these guys that they were their team. There was no question that. I mean, I guess there was at some point that Mattingly, but that was all just. He wasn't going anywhere. He was going to be a Yankee. He fought with Steinbrenner, and I think if Steinbrenner really did find a team,
I really did want him to win that World Series with Toronto. That
you
play 9 innings, not 8.
But this is set up right. If in 2026 he has the possibility, right? Let's say he comes back to the Yankees as a coach with Boone. He has the possibility of being, back with the Yankees, put in the Hall of Fame, and being in a World Series in a Yankee uniform all in 1 year. That's 2026 could be an amazing year for Don Mattingly.
So he's not coming back until Cashman leaves.
So to jump into the discussion that we were talking about earlier with this contemporary Hall of Fame, I got a few names on that list we'll go off of. So in this, you got Barry Bonds, Clemens, Carlos Delgado, Jeff Kent, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy, Gary Sheffield, and Fernando Valenzuela. I'm shocked that Gary Sheffield is on this contemporary list, but okay, we'll play along. What me and Mo have gone back and forth with this a couple times. Not a fan of putting steroid people in the Hall of Fame.
They're already there.
Although I think Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer prior to San Francisco, so maybe we make amends for him. But
steroids are already in the Hall of Fame. Ricky Henderson, Roberto Alomar, Ivan Rodriguez, Biggio, Bagwell, Dave Ortiz. Steroids is already in the Hall of Fame. They're just punishing.
Hold on.
Ortiz.
Plantains or steroids?
What's that?
Nothing.
Plantains. I mean, it's already there, and again, so it's the punishing. I think, are they punishing Bonds because of, how flagrant he was with it, or are they punishing him because the media hated him anyway? He was a notorious, how do I say clean? Yeah, asshole. I was trying to find a clean word for it. He was notoriously butting heads with the media. He never was really friendly with them. So are these nerdy sports writers punishing him?
Jeff Kent was a jerk too.
So I mean,
him either.
Right, I mean, listen, you can't say that you don't want steroids in the Hall of Fame because steroids is already in the Hall of Fame. And then you go the one step further. I've always taken the stance where steroids is cheating when you compare it to when you're talking about comparing generation to generation. That's where the steroid argument comes in, because at an age where Hank Aaron was breaking down, Barry Bonds was getting stronger. So to compare the two is not fair, because you could say, what would Hank Aaron have done with 5 more strong years? Now that's a valid argument. To say that steroids is cheating from the standpoint of Barry Bonds wouldn't have hit 70 home runs. Well,
He
then
wouldn't have.
Okay, so then that is Aaron Judge using steroids, because Aaron Judge hit damn near 70 home runs.
I don't think so.
So obviously the talent is possible, and nobody put. And I every time I bring this up, I got to find it. I think it was Elias Sports Bureau broke it down, and the amount of times that Barry Bonds swung a bat and how many times he made contact, and foul balls counted, outs counted, and it's like some ungodly number. Like 78% of the time this guy swung a bat, he made contact with a baseball. Bro, that's not fucking steroids. That's pure hitting talent.
Well, that was Tony Gwynn also.
Same thing. Yeah, I mean,
So
but-
was Tony Gwynn on steroids?
The biggest
No.
advantage of steroids in baseball is I could take steroids and not hit home runs. I could take steroids and not hit 400. Those people that are hitting home runs and hitting above average, they have the natural ability to do it.
yes.
What steroids allows you to do is to take your natural ability and perform at a higher level than your body normally would. It prevents the wear and tear. It accelerates recovery.
Yes.
When steroids were prevalent in the baseball in the 90s, the number one user of steroids were not everyday field position players. They were pitchers,
Yes.
particularly relief pitchers.
Roger Clemens last year with the Red Sox, 500, 12 and 12, goes to Toronto and all of a sudden finds 5 more miles an hour in his fastball and is a Cy Young Award winner, a World Series winner.
Now, will steroids help a pitcher throw the ball faster? Yes, they will. But
It'll
again,
help a batter swing faster, the twitch speed.
But it's the recovery aspect of the human body.
Yes.
Baseball is the most grueling sport other than hockey. Baseball starts in March and ends in October,
And then you're starting.
and you have maybe 19, 18 actual days off over that time period. That is such a mental and physical grind.
Yes.
Years ago in the clubhouse, they had 2 pots of coffee, regular
Greenies,
and turbo.
Greenies as well.
And the turbo was all jacked up with amphetamines.
Right.
And why aren't those people labeled steroid users?
Well, this is that goes to my argument. I said, there's a lot of generational comparisons that just aren't fair. I mean, was it cheating when the original baseball players didn't have to play against some of the best black talent that was out there? Was it cheating where they never had to play night games, where they played less than 162 game schedule? When the other generation that was doing cocaine
when the mound was flat before they raised
you know
it
what I'm
up.
saying? So it's like you can make an argument that every generation has had its advantage.
Look at the Cardinals in the 80s. Why were they such a better baseball team than everybody else? They played on AstroTurf, and they got players that benefited by putting the ball on the ground in the gap and started hitting doubles and triples.
Mhm.
Is that not some form of enhancement? Yes. But it was accepted. And it's not in the same category as anabolic steroids.
I guess my problem is
You have
how
potty mouth?
that's number 2.
Is duck for Thanksgiving?
That's number 2. I guess it's the egregiousness of it. So let's just use Barry Bonds because that'll be the one. That's the poster child for it all. He's arrogant. He's not the nicest guy in the world. He bulks up like 50 pounds in front of me. I'm exaggerating 50. It was some though. He's gigantic.
If you look at him in the Pittsburgh Pirates uniform, then it might be 50 pounds.
And so now you're shattering Babe Ruth's record by multiple home runs on top of it. And you're just being a jerk about it. Like the only reason you did that is you were a Hall of Fame player already. The only reason you were capable of doing that, it comes back to my Derek Jeter argument, which is why I think in my lifetime, that's the best player I'm ever going to see because I don't know for a fact, he did not do steroids, or at least didn't look like he did steroids. And his skills were still very good and diminished with time over his 20-year career.
Diminished naturally, too.
Barry Bonds increased. You do not increase your talent in your 30s. You just don't.
Well, it's what Pat said. You do when you're recovering faster, and
you're unnaturally increasing your talent,
of course.
and you're adding muscle mass that you don't get in your 30s.
So,
you lose muscle mass in your 30s.
Josh, the biggest problem I think everyone has with the steroid era players, the Barry Bonds, the Rafael Palmeiro, the other guys, the arrogance in which they did it and denied it. People in nature are very forgiving. Sports writers that vote for the Hall of Fame are very forgiving. There's people in every professional Hall of Fame that have engaged in criminal conduct, but yet they're still in the Hall of Fame. If Barry Bonds said, I did take anabolic steroids because at the time they were allowed, and I did it because it gave me an opportunity to play the game I love a little bit longer at a level that I wanted to play at for my personal edification. Same thing with Jose Canseco, although he has come out and admitted it. If these players turned around and said, yeah, I did what was allowed at the time. Was it cheating? Yes, on a gray area.
I'll give you another one.
And
Rafael Palmeiro.
Well,
I was,
he
I was
said
about to go to that. At Congress, with his emphatic
Yeah.
finger waving, I did not take anabolic steroids.
He tested positive like a week later.
And he pissed hot. That's why Rafael Palmeiro is probably never going to get in the Hall of Fame.
well,
Right.
if contrition got them into the Hall of Fame, then why isn't Mark McGuire in?
If contrition got us in the Hall of Fame, why isn't Pete Rose in?
Pete Rose is going to be in. That's happening.
Why wasn't he in when he was alive?
Because
he did say he gambled.
because
He
these
admitted
nerdy
it.
because these nerdy sports writers punished him. That's why.
Well, no. The number one person to punish Pete Rose is Bart Giamatti.
Yeah, but
And
they
that was a
could.
personal affront to him. And I believe in some private backroom conversation at MLB headquarters in Manhattan, Giamatti says he'll never be in the Hall of Fame as long as I'm alive.
So out of this group, I'll start with you. So I'll read it again just in case. We have the list that I looked up is Barry Bonds, Clemens, Delgado, Kent, Mattingly, Murphy, Sheffield, and Fernando Valenzuela. Pick two that go in.
Two.
Two.
I was gonna.
Pick two.
I don't see him picking 3, so I think 2 is the number. I would be.
Out of that group,
1 wouldn't surprise me. 2 is probably where they're going to land. They're not going to get 3. You're not going to.
So pick two. Pick two on that list. Who you get the vote?
If we're going with just 2, then you got to put Mattingly in.
Why? A lot of these guys have better stats. Than him. Why?
I
Just
know
because it's Don Mattingly?
I think he would have, if it wasn't for the back.
A lot of
his
ifs.
numbers would.
Okay, there's a lot of guys here that
If you don't want me to go with Mattingly,
no, you said Mattingly. Give
No,
me
no.
another one.
Don't let him bully you off your pick.
No, Mattingly and who else?
no, then I'll go with
No, Mattingly and who else?
Kent.
2 players. Which 2 out that list?
Barry Bonds,
Barry Bonds.
Dale Murphy.
Okay.
Wow.
Josh.
That's
I made
right.
it through the whole thing.
No, it's okay. No, you're all right.
2.
I mean, other than your cursing, we've been all right. I'm doing Mattingly Murphy, and obviously, I mean, besides my my love for all things Yankees, anyway. I mean, Mattingly. I got, you know what? If you humor me, I have Brian Kenny did a breakdown, and this actually is a couple years old. This was when they were on the contemporary ballot with Fred McGriff. So that was 2 classes ago. And he made the argument for Mattingly. It was the same situation. And if you look at who's voting this year, again, for people that don't understand, the majority of the voters on the contemporary ballot are former Major League Hall of Famers that they now vote. So I actually want to see Mattingly, besides get in this way, because it almost means a little bit more, because these are now his, people that played against him, played with him, he's almost like getting the respect of his peers rather than the respect of nerdy sports writers who punished Pete Rose for all those years. So if you humor me, it's not long, but it's a 5-minute video. But Brian Kenny, so I don't have to even answer why. He's going to show you why. But during this too, look up Carlos Delgado stats, because I saw your eye roll when you said Carlos Delgado. Bro, that guy was a monster. If you look up his stats and then compare it, and I know Brian Kenny did that as well. He did a bit on Delgado and compared to other Hall of Famers.
So before we do the Brian Kenny spot,
Yeah.
I'm going to totally be a hypocrite, because there's only 2 people I'm putting in the Hall of Fame on this, and it's Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. They're the only ones with the numbers.
I mean, listen, if
They're the only ones with the numbers.
well, no, listen, if what I say in my heart is true, or my argument against steroids is true, then yeah, by that metric, then Barry Bonds and Clemens go before everybody.
My thing has always been I'll do 2 players. Johnny Bench, or Yogi Berra. Pick 2 catchers. Were you as good as them? Because if you weren't as good as them, you don't belong in the Hall of Fame. Tom Seaver, were you as good as him? Because if you're not as good as him, you don't belong in the Hall of Fame. Period. I'm not about feeling good about somebody. Oh, he was a great guy like Mattingly. He had those 4 really good years. Poor back. That's not what the Hall of Fame is for.
Well, part of, and Kenny mentions it in his thing, but to the people that hate the steroid era, like Tommy around the corner, to the people that hate the steroid era and say, nope, unequivocally, it's cheating. These guys have no place in the Hall of Fame. Somebody like Mattingly, and it did this during that bit, Kenny's arguing for McGriff. You have Mattingly, McGriff, and Murphy is who Kenny wanted then. And he said at a time where we're analyzing players intentions and their behavior and their life decisions and their potential cheating. Here's 3 guys that you can feel good about, that played the game right, that dominated the game for a certain amount of years, whether it was 3 years, 4 years, 8 years, doesn't make a difference. Nobody says there has to be a certain amount of years of domination.
McGriff's 500 home runs was for a longevity of a career, not being fantastic.
I mean, it's. I'm gonna play this and let Kenny explain it. It's
Hold on 1 second.
Yes, sir.
So statistically, it's Bonds and Clemens. There's no question.
Right. Yes.
Dale Murphy is what I call a wash candidate. That he gets caught up in every year. There's newer players being added to the list that are statistically better than him. Dale Murphy should already be in the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Yes.
That would be my third player.
At some point, you have to put them in because they're going to get caught up in the wash. And next thing you know, they're off the contemporary list.
Right.
They're in purgatory for a while. Then they go to the senior list. Roger Clemens will be in next year. I can't say the same thing if Dale Murphy doesn't go in this year because there's going to be a new crop of first-year eligible players that are going to push Dale Murphy out of the thought.
Yep. Yes.
Let's take a look at that, Kenny.
Yes, sir. This is really, like I said, if you watch this and you can't vote for Mattingly, then I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. We're probably aware of the basics here now. From 1984 to 1987, Don Mattingly was the best player in the American League and best hitter in all of baseball. A stunning slash line of .337, the batting average .381 on base, and slugging percentage of .560. In that period, with guys like Mike Schmidt, Wade Boggs, Dale Murphy, Don Mattingly was #1 in all of baseball in OPS plus, slugging, RBIs, doubles, and total bases. Now, Mattingly was the best player in the game from 1984 to 1987, but he was still dominant from 84 to 89. Here are the total base leaders over that span. Mattingly leads George Bell by 120 total bases and Kirby Bucket by 174. Mattingly is the #1 slugger in the game in those 6 years, and it's not even close. But I want to focus on why people who saw him play speak of him in such awe. Mattingly was the #1 slugger while also hitting .337 and having an elite contact rate. Mattingly had more walks than strikeouts in each of his peak 6 seasons and overall in his career. Think about that. Mattingly was the best power hitter in the game while also essentially hitting like Tony Gwynn. Here are the top slugging percentages from 1984 to 1987 and their strikeout rates. The top 3 are Mattingly, Schmidt, and Dale Murphy. You can see them right there. They all have high strikeout rates. If you look at the top 5, George Bell, Darryl Strawberry, look at them. Even George Bell, relatively low his strikeout rate. It's 11.7%. It's more than double Don Mattingly's of 5.3. Double. Everyone else is striking out a lot. Don Mattingly, not striking out at all. That's why his at-bats were so special. He was striking out 33, 35 times a year while leading the league in slugging, RBIs, and total bases, and also hitting for an absurd batting average. Think of it this way. You have an image of Tony Gwynn, right? There he is in front of you. One of the best batting average hitters in the history of baseball. In that same time period, Tony Gwynn hit .341. Mattingly hit .337, very close. They had essentially the same strikeout rate. Both are in the top 5 in strikeout rate in the major leagues and phenomenal contact hitters. The difference? Mattingly is slugging 100 points higher. Gwynn is slugging .457. Mattingly slugged .560. Mattingly hit like Tony Gwynn, the master, but with league-leading power. That is why he's seen as extra special for those who watched him while he was playing. Now, Mattingly injured his back, and after that great 6-year stretch, of course, he was not the same power hitter. So the voters these days are always saying, well, he didn't do it long enough. I have a question for that. Who says? It doesn't stipulate that anywhere in the voting. Let me tell you why we think that way. In the 1930s and 40s, when the baseball writers were first trying to figure out who belonged in this new Baseball Hall of Fame, they didn't have Baseball Reference. They didn't have a baseball encyclopedia. They couldn't go year by year through a player's record without getting team records. They had a player's totals. His years, his batting average, his World Series record, his reputation. That's it. So, years of service, total hits, total home runs, total pitching wins. That was basically the criteria. It had to be. We've come a long way since then. We can go year by year now and compare the peak of the great players. So how many players have ever been known, like Mattingly, as the best player in baseball for any period of time? There aren't many. Mattingly was one of them. And if it's 8 years of greatness that you want, because it seems to land around there, how about this? Here are 8 years. These are the runs created leaders in baseball from 1984 to 1991. Mattingly, even with 2 to 4 years of diminished output with the bad back, is 4th in all of baseball. And do you notice anything around the names, about those names that are surrounding Mattingly? Look at all those names. They're all in the Hall of Fame. Tim Raines, Cal Ripken, Kirby Puckett are all below Mattingly in that 8-year stretch. Here's something else. Mattingly's career WAR is 43, and WAR is where many begin and end their analysis these days. Well, I'm here to tell you that WAR total, dragged down by his defensive stats, is utter nonsense. I defend defensive statistics and I mock Gold Gloves more than anyone, but the defensive stats have Mattingly being a below-league average defensive player. That is complete hogwash. I'm using hogwash and nonsense a lot here, I know. Maybe defensive reputation matters a bit too much in Gold Glove voting, but you're telling me Don Mattingly won 9 Gold Gloves and he was a below-average defender? That doesn't make any sense. I've said this many times. Defensive stats for first base are sketchy. They still are. Take it with a grain of salt. In this case, throw it right in the trash. If the stats gave Mattingly proper credit, he'd be over 50 WAR easy. It'd make for a better Hall of Fame case. WAR is helpful, but don't let it overrule everything. Use your own thinking. And one last thing. You speak to most anyone in this game. They don't just like Don Mattingly. They hold him in the highest possible regard. His manager at the time, Buck Showalter, said he told any new player that came to the Yankees, watch him. Watch what he does. And that would be enough. We use the character clause as a negative. How about using it as a positive? How about honoring someone who brings positive memories to the sport instead of negative? Don Mattingly is seen as the standard by which a player and teammate should be measured. Put that up against, well, I'd like to see 2 more.
There you go.
Well,
That's why Mattingly.
It's an interesting case study for Mattingly, and we'll see how it all ends up.
Hold on, just for my safety and health and well-being, I may have to apologize to a lifelong friend, retired PBA delegate of the 17th Precinct, Chris Sasso, who wants to know why I nodded Dale Murphy over Don Mattingly. So, sorry, Chris.
We apologize, and for the F-bombs.
If I don't make my next appearance, Chris Sasso is your prime suspect.
There you go. There you go. So I did enjoy that video, and it definitely does point out the case for Don Mattingly. I'm just going to stay in my camp that.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I think if I truly meant what I said about steroids not being cheating, then yeah. Bonds and Clemens and McGuire, those guys need to be in because you're 100% right. Then if we're going off of numbers, I mean, again, Mattingly, did he play in their era or were they just a little tick behind him? I don't know. He's got to get in. He's absolutely got to get in. And I know
I agree with him getting in, but the problem, and I'm a diehard Yankee fan. My problem with Don Mattingly is the window of his dominance was probably 2 years too short. The back robbed Mattingly, and more importantly, it robbed all baseball fans of. He's my first what-if player that I can remember growing up. Like, what if Don Mattingly's back didn't betray him? What kind of numbers would he have put up?
True. Listen, the Yankees they've put up how many fairy tale stories? 2026 is going to be a fairy tale year for Don Mattingly. He's going to come back, and I disagree. He'll come back before Cashman leaves. Mattingly's going to come back as a coach. He's going to go to the World Series in a Yankee uniform, and he's going to get put in the Hall of Fame. Storybook ending for him.
Let's see how it all plays out. Having said all this was a great chat today. Pat, I really appreciate you coming back. Mike, do you have anything to say before we go?
Tonight you have Ohio State, Indiana. That's going to be the battle of the undefeated. So only one team will be undefeated after that game. Next week is Army Navy. Good luck to both of those teams. Holidays coming up. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Mike, how do you know I celebrate Christmas?
It's true.
Yeah, it's very presumptuous.
Very
yeah.
presumptuous on your part. Pat, do you have anything? Once again, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and your analysis of the kicking today was well appreciated.
Again, thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. It's a great atmosphere. not sports related, but the holidays. They could be a tough time for people, whether you're law enforcement, first responder, or anything like that. Don't be afraid if things aren't going your way to let somebody know.
Absolutely.
And if you're a friend and you see somebody and you realize they're a little bit off, reach out and touch base with them and just make sure they're okay. Because as we all know, the holidays can be very difficult, stressful. Let's make sure everybody gets to January 1st. And there's one person who's listening today, and great friend. I met her early in her career. Her name is Christina Hall. She is a lieutenant with the NYPD, Bronx born, Bronx raised, spent a lot of her time in the Bronx. She's going through a health battle, and she is doing her best. And just want Christina to know that everybody's behind you, and you're gonna get through this. And just keep fighting. You're a fighter.
Hear, hear. I started off with Annabelle Nieves, dear friend of mine, and I hate to bookend things, but I was scrolling through my feed for a moment there. I came on the job in 1995. We were the last original housing class before we merged, and one of the people please don't, not now. One of the people that I came out with was a woman named Faye Roper Lindsay. She was a PSA 7 cop and a wonderful, wonderful human being, child of God, very religious, wonderful woman who anyone would have the pleasure to be around. I was just notified that she passed away today. So I'm sorry to bookend these things with 2 deaths, but I'm going to dovetail off of what Pat said. Hug your family, hug your friends, and be there for each other, because tomorrow is never promised. And these are things that I'm finding out more and more as I get older. And I think it's everyone. And to Christina, we're all in that fight with you. Please, head up, head strong, and let's all work together. And like you said, happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all, and everyone else have just a great time, and we're all here for each other. Remember that.
One last plug that if I didn't put that up here, apparently Mike was going to do dirty things to me, kid show, so I'm not going to say what you're going to do. Yes, same as thing. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Thursday, December 11th, Barry Morgenstein is having a book signing, his Rock and Soul book. All the details right there are up on that flyer. Barry's an awesome human being and obviously world-renowned photographer. So consider going out to December 11th, 5 to 7 p.m. And again, all the details are on that flyer there. I'll leave it up there for a couple of minutes. And yeah, that should be it. John, you got anything else? Or
I always plug the one charity that other than the BBO Flower Fund, which you all should be contributing to. It's a wonderful thing. The Happy Jack Fund funds college scholarships for siblings of children who die. The president of that organization, Steve Doyle, is a dear friend of mine, and it's wonderfully run, wonderful people involved with it. TheHappyJackFund.org, TheHappyJackFund.org. Thank you again.
all right, boys. See you when is your next show?
TBD.
All right, and maybe Pat comes back. Maybe we'll let him. We got to talk to him about that line of duty cigar thing. All right, guys, have a good one.
Bye.